They thought I was nothing, a dropout, a disgrace, a ghost in the family. I stood in the back row at my brother's Navy SEAL ceremony, quiet, almost invisible. The room smelled of medals, sweat, and polished boots. Father was in the front, chest out, pride swelling. My brother Daniel stood tall in uniform, basking in the light that once should have been mine. Then the general's eyes swept the crowd. He froze. His voice dropped into silence. "Colonel, you're here." The word cut through the hall. Every head turned, the crowd froze. My father's jaw unhinged, his pride collapsing into disbelief. And that was the beginning. I wasn't always silent. I wasn't always invisible. Years ago, I was the one who carried the dream. The Navy had been my path, the one I bled for, sweated for, breathed for. Daniel, he was the golden boy at home, but never the fighter. I carried him through training drills, through school, through life. Father never saw, or maybe he refused to. The betrayal wasn't a knife to the chest. It was slower. A blade twisted over months. First, the sealed envelopes from the academy started arriving for me, but somehow they never made it into my hands. Lost in the mail, Daniel would shrug. My father's eyes hardened at my so-called failures. Then came the whispers. "Your son didn't make it, dropped out in disgrace." I hadn't dropped out. I had been cut out. The proof came late. An overheard conversation between Daniel and Father. He had stolen my place, using Father's influence to erase me from the line. My records misplaced, my application rejected, and Father had signed off, preferring Daniel's shine to my shadow. I could have exploded, but rage only burns once. Revenge simmers. So I stayed quiet, watched, planned. I built my own warpath off the books. Not as a dropout, not as a failure. I entered the Marines under a different branch, a different name. It suited me. Shadows suited me. Where Daniel posed for family portraits, I was need in missions that never made the news. While he played soldier, I became a weapon. Promotions came in silence. Colonel before 35 medals no one at home ever saw. They wanted me erased, so I let them believe I was gone. But the day he stood in that hall in that uniform that was supposed to be mine, something in me snapped into place. The time for silence had ended. Execution is everything. I never storm in blind. First, I made sure the guest list included me. Not as family, as military. A calculated call, a request processed through the right channels. The general owed me a favor from an operation that still smelled of gunpowder. One message, one coded phrase, and I had my entry. Then I waited for the moment. Revenge isn't loud, it's timed. When the general's eyes caught mine, recognition bloomed like a detonator. His words tore through the ceremony like gunfire. "Colonel, you're here." Gasps. Silence. Daniel's face cracked. He didn't understand. Not yet. Father turned, eyes wide, mouth open, struggling to comprehend. I stepped forward, boots heavy, calm. I didn't salute. I didn't smile. I simply let the weight of my presence crush the room. The confrontation wasn't words. It was revelation. The general, confused, asked, "You two are brothers?" The silence answered for us. Daniel's voice cracked first. He's not. He dropped out. He never. Colonel Mason has led classified missions across 3 continents. The general cut in. "Your brother isn't a dropout. He's one of the finest men I've commanded." The crowd shifted, murmurs rippling like an earthquake. Father's pride melted into something else. Fear, realization, guilt. His jaw tightened, but his eyes gave him away. I didn't look at him. Not yet. I kept my eyes locked on Daniel. This was his unmasking. He tried to speak to salvage the lie. "That's impossible." He never. I leaned close low enough for only him to hear. "You took my place, but you could never take what I became." His face drained of color. The audience, the cameras, the pride of his ceremony, it all curdled around him. His foundation cracked and everyone saw it. Father finally spoke, voice breaking. "Son, you lied. Not to me, to Daniel." The betrayal was nowise to carry. That was the payoff. Not applause, not a medal, just silence thick enough to suffocate him. My revenge wasn't destruction, it was exposure. They wanted me invisible. It made him transparent. The ceremony ended, awkward, broken. My brother stood in the spotlight, but the light burned now. Father couldn't look at him. The crowd didn't clap. Pride had soured into shame, and I walked out without looking back. Now, when I reflect, I don't feel rage. I feel something colder, cleaner. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to strike. I just let truth walk in at the right time. They tried to bury me. They forgot I was a soldier. I don't stay buried. Justice isn't always a bullet. Sometimes it's silence breaking at the perfect moment.